On December 15, 2011, a significant ceremony took place in Baghdad, Iraq. This event was a pivotal moment in history. It marked the official end of the Iraq War, a conflict that had lasted for nearly a decade. The United States had been engaged in this war in Iraq for almost 9 years, with countless soldiers deployed. Now, American soldiers were finally coming home, reuniting with their families and loved ones after long and challenging deployments. There was a renewed sense of hope for peace in Iraq, a country that had endured so much turmoil and conflict. However, despite the end of the war, the country was still struggling with numerous challenges and uncertainties. The war had been incredibly difficult for everyone involved, leaving deep scars on both soldiers and civilians. Many Iraqi people had lost their lives, and countless others had been affected by the violence and destruction. The country was in a state of chaos, and the future remained uncertain for its people. The ceremony in Baghdad symbolized a chance for a new beginning, a glimmer of hope amidst the turmoil. The United States had initially invaded Iraq in 2003 with the intention of bringing about significant change. The primary goal of this invasion was to remove Saddam Hussein from power, a mission that was eventually accomplished. Saddam Hussein, the leader of Iraq, had ruled the country with an iron fist for decades. The US government claimed that he possessed dangerous weapons, including weapons of mass destruction. These weapons were considered a significant threat to global security, prompting the invasion. As the ceremony concluded, there was a collective hope that Iraq could rebuild and move towards a more peaceful and prosperous future. The future of Iraq now rested in the hands of its people, especially the younger generations who dreamed of a better tomorrow. The invasion of Iraq happened quickly. American forces were strong and well prepared. They moved with precision and determination, showcasing their military might. They defeated the Iraqi army with relative ease. The Iraqi soldiers, overwhelmed and outmatched, surrendered in large numbers. Saddam Hussein went into hiding as his regime crumbled. His statues were toppled and his palaces were left abandoned. He was later captured by US forces in December 2003. The once feared dictator was found hiding in a small underground bunker. He was put on trial for his crimes. The world watched as he faced justice for the atrocities committed during his rule. In 2006, Saddam Hussein was found guilty of crimes against humanity and was executed. His death marked the end of an era. The United States promised to bring democracy to Iraq. They aimed to establish a new government that would be inclusive and representative of all Iraqis. Efforts were made to build the infrastructure for a democratic system. New government buildings were constructed and political rallies were held to engage the public. Elections were organized to ensure that the new government would be free and fair. People were encouraged to vote and participate in the democratic process. The goal was to create a government that respected the rights of all Iraqis. Celebrations and community gatherings marked the hope for a better future. But this was a difficult task. The challenges of rebuilding a nation were immense, and the path to democracy was fraught with obstacles. The people of Iraq were divided along various lines. Neighborhoods were split, and discussions often highlighted deep-seated differences. There were different religious groups, such as Shia and Sunni Muslims, each with their own beliefs and traditions. There were also different ethnic groups, including Kurds, Arabs, and Turkmen, each with their own unique cultural identities. These groups had been fighting for many years, with a history of conflicts and clashes that made unity a challenging goal. It was hard to bring them together. Peace talks and community meetings were held, but the road to reconciliation was long and arduous. The United States government announced that Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction, which they claimed posed a significant threat to global security. These alleged weapons were said to be capable of causing widespread devastation and were considered a major risk to the safety of nations around the world. However, despite extensive search operations and numerous investigations, no such weapons were ever discovered in Iraq. This failure to find the weapons led to widespread anger and frustration among the global community. Many people felt that the United States had misled them, using false information to justify the invasion of Iraq. This led to numerous protests and public outcries, with people questioning the true motives behind the war. The absence of weapons of mass destruction severely damaged the credibility of the United States on the international stage. It also strained relations with the Iraqi people, making it more challenging to rebuild trust and foster positive interactions. The United States faced a monumental task in trying to repair the damage caused by the war and to assist in the reconstruction of Iraq. They needed to provide substantial humanitarian aid, rebuild critical infrastructure, and support community projects to help Iraq recover from the devastating impacts of the conflict. After the invasion, violence broke out in Iraq. There were many different groups fighting. Some groups were fighting against the United States, other groups were fighting each other. The country was in chaos. The United States tried to stop the violence. They sent more soldiers to Iraq. They also worked with the Iraqi government, but the violence continued. It was a very dangerous time to be in Iraq. Many innocent people were killed.